just for the record, I have no idea where this is gonna go. I have an idea of where it could go. I have a map in my mind, but if it gets weird, sorry. As you know, I'm assuming, I created a group. It's, an anxiety group. I think that, a side effect of a life you live with extreme anxiety, comes depression, so I think the two can go hand in hand pretty often. Obviously, you could experience depression or have depression and not have anxiety at all, though I do think it's unlikely if you experience the degree of anxiety that I do or anywhere close that depression doesn't just happen. But what I'd like to do is, because I've tried to find people to share their stories, their experiences, to help other people. The main reason I created the group is I want to help people. I got invited into a group chat for people with anxiety, and it's been really helpful to hear other people's stories, being able to relate to them. We're all very similar, our triggers, our fears, and just, one of my biggest triggers is feeling like I'm alone or being alone, or that if I freak out or pass out, no one will be aware of that and I'll just die. So it's been real nice to not feel alone and to reach out and to have people that understand and truly care and have a community of that. So I try to branch off of that chat that I got invited into and just post things that I think are helpful. Like I said before, I'm trying to find people to share their stories with, and I've shared 2 of those people from the group stories so far, and I'm definitely looking for more, but I realized that I don't actually have my own. I have my life story in a podcast further, but that's 4 hours long. I don't have a standalone anxiety video or message or anything like that, so I wanted to have one. So my anxiety started like 6 years ago. I had never really experienced anxiety before. Sure, I had my healthy dose of things I was afraid of, like being afraid of heights or something normal, but growing up I never really experienced it. I had friends that experienced it, and I would hang out with them and they would say, oh, I'm having anxiety, or cancel something because of it, and I don't know, if you don't have it or if you never experienced it, you can't really understand. It's hard. I guess imagine, being rationally afraid of something. If you've ever been fearful for your life, a close call with a car, ever been in a car accident, just imagine those kind of feelings, but when nothing really is wrong. Like I think normal people have aches and pains in random places, but imagine if every ache and pain you had, you immediately panicked, thought you were going to die from it, and focusing on your panic, your breathing changes, your heart changes, and you focus on that more, and that creates more panic. It's just a vicious cycle of endless fear and feeding fear and avoiding fear, which makes the fear bigger. It's not fun, so I wanted to sort of share, again, my story with anxiety and maybe try to relate to others and potentially help others. That's always the goal. So I don't know if you've noticed, my voice has stumbled and cracked. I feel a little bit anxious right now, even though it's just me sitting in a room. It's with me a lot. But anyways, my anxiety started about 6 years ago. I was a cashier. I got a UTI, so I had to pee like every 5 minutes, and there was a long line of people and I had to continually ask my boss to cover the register, because I had to pee every 5 minutes, and she never wanted to. She'd get pissed off, so I had to keep asking my boss to cover my register, keep pissing her off. The lights were bright, the longs were lined, and I just was really overwhelmed. I started to get dizzy, and I never really gotten dizzy before. Again, I never experienced anxiety before, and I just started panicking. And that lasted a few weeks, up until I just couldn't take it anymore. I was just terrified of that position of being trapped and on with a spotlight of me, lines of people looking at me, and again having to continually upset my boss. The stress was just so overwhelming. So I stopped, and it got worse. I ended up panicking at stores and in cars and just places that I would go, and even at my house, the place that I felt most safe. And I think towards the beginning of my panic, there was a time where I really didn't leave my bed for about a week, I would say. This might be too much information, sorry, but I had a bottle, to go to the bathroom in. I was terrified of getting up. I couldn't even watch TV. We moved the TV over to right in front of my bed because I couldn't get up, and I had some sort of stimulant, and even looking at the TV I would get dizzy. So I just spent a week pretty much sleeping, or trying to. Obviously I got out of that. I got out of bed. But getting to the living room was another task, and I have grown from that, obviously. The biggest triggers for me was always after recovering from that. Anxiety was on and off. A lot of the time it was being in a car that would make me afraid. I always feel like I would feel trapped. Like if I were to have a panic attack in the car, I couldn't leave. We're driving. I'm freaking out. I can't breathe. It's not like I can escape or go to my safe place, which was my house. But yeah, the more I went out, the more I panicked, and the more I avoided, to where it became a bigger problem. There was a moment where I had beaten my anxiety, because for the first 3 years, I would say, since I had never really experienced it before, that I thought it was death. I thought I was dying. My brain doesn't do that. I'm not psyching myself out. I'm not making myself sick, but I definitely was. And I think I have a list, like many messages of saying goodbye, videos and recordings of me saying I'm sorry, and I wish I could have pulled through, in case I did go, that they would find it. And I became a hypochondriac, and I was terrified of doctors. I always thought that if I ever saw one, they would immediately tell me, yeah, you have brain cancer all over your body, and you have maybe 3 days to live. So going to the doctor wasn't an option. I used to tell my wife that she should have just kicked me outside and locked the door and called the cops and said I wasn't supposed to be there. At least I would have had to face my fear right then and there. Let it be done with. I eventually found out that it was anxiety. 3 years of dying, and you don't die, it sort of points in that direction. But I was still afraid to go places. So having a mental health professional or therapist wasn't an option for me. Until COVID hit. COVID was the thing that sort of turned everything around for me. Obviously bad for everybody else, good for me. people had to start living like me and not going anywhere, being afraid, all that. But, got groceries delivered. McDonald's became more of a, delivery situation. Almost everything we needed could come right to us. And so could therapy. Telehealth or whatever started, and I could finally see a therapist, and it was good. I luckily got a really good therapist, and there were a few things that I learned that really helped. Because believe it or not, though it's been 6 years that I've been going through this, there was a good chunk of time where I felt like I truly beat it. I was confident, going places, but how I got there was with, two things. One is that when I have a panic attack, either my chest feels weird, or my heart's pumping, or or it's hard to breathe. And I could sit there and ask myself, have I ever had a heart attack? Have I ever passed out from this? Have I ever even fainted? And, those are my fears, that's what is coming. And the answer is always no to all three of those questions. I may feel like I'm dying and I'm suffocating, but I never actually have. And just trying to talk yourself out of this, that this is just a feeling. And, I think there's a stigma with anxiety and therapy that it's weak or less, especially to talk about your feelings, or just to go through that it's not real. And I would say to those macho people, therapy, it's not just like validating feelings, and it's more of like, I have a feeling. It's we both understand that this feeling is irrational. How do I put logic to my feelings? How do I find solutions to my feelings? Because the feelings are damaging me. They are irrational. They're incorrect. I'm not actually dying. I am experiencing them. I am feeling like I'm dying. They're real in that sense, but they're not, real. But it's basically just putting logic to irrational fears and feelings, which is ultimately a good thing, So these macho people that think therapy is not so good, you should take another look at that, because it's exactly what you would want from them anyways, to put logic to their feelings. But aside from that, being able to self-talk just sort of helped put my mind in a different place. But the biggest thing that she did for me was this meditation. It was called progressive muscle relaxation. And basically what she did is she'd have me lay down, close my eyes, and I have to say the reason I feel like it worked for me is that I was in such a desperate place, and in a place where I felt, I don't know, I believed her. I wanted to get better. I trusted her. So basically, when you're panicking, your thoughts, you have this ache and you hyper-focus on it, and like I said before, it's this vicious cycle where it gets worse and worse. It's the thought. So when she did this meditation, I was fully focused on everything she was saying, thinking or feeling as if everything she could say was my ticket out of hell, out of this miserable existence. So I really paid attention, and I was in it. My eyes were closed, and I was just fully focused on what she said. And she told me to squeeze my arms as hard as I could and to focus on it. And me putting all of my mental energy into her voice, into my hands, squeezing as hard as I could with a physical distraction as well as a mental one, just all focused on my hands and then letting go. And there is a sensation you feel when you do that and you let go. You feel the tingling sort of go away and fade from you. And she had me continue and do it with my fists and then also my arms. And she had me do this 3 times up until where I got to my shoulders. And afterwards, I felt better because, again, when you're feeling these triggers or bad feelings that you hyper focus on and make worse, your thoughts are going to panic. I'm gonna die. Everything is horrible. But when you allow yourself to become distracted, when you think about literally anything else, when you are freaking out for enough time, say 5 minutes, your body has enough time to fully calm down and those irrational thoughts and feelings fade away. Now, since she was able to do this to me successfully, and I was able to actually calm down and know that I could calm myself down, I got an extreme boost of confidence. I was afraid to cross the street. I was afraid to go anywhere. If I was in a car, I was in a car with my wife in the back seat with me, squeezing my back as hard as she could, and me potentially burning myself with cigarettes. Literally anything other than thinking thoughts of panic. I was desperate to not. So it was not fun, but this boost of confidence that I got from knowing that I could calm myself down wherever I was, it brought tears to my eyes. It's hard for people to imagine looking out your window, seeing someone walking on the sidewalk and being jealous of that person. That person could have a horrible life, but the fact that he could be out there, out in the world, it's not a fun existence. I'm sure people can imagine, I get to sit home, I get to play video games, I get to watch shows, relax, do whatever I want. It's a prison. There are only so many shows on Netflix. There are only so many games you can play, and when you have nothing to do, those things fade away. They lose their interest, and then you're just alone with your thoughts. And people can't do that. There's a reason that solitary confinement is torture. And I'm not saying my wife didn't come home, or that I didn't get breaks, or that I couldn't call someone, but having nothing to do, no purpose, watching my wife, struggle at work, knowing that there's nothing I can do to help her, being a financial burden, feeling purposeless, worthless, and just nothing, no stimulation, no positive thoughts, all bad, just a burden. This confidence, this being able to now cross the street, go a little further, continue to boost my confidence, tears, happy tears. It was the best thing ever. It was, like I said, it's a prison. It's not a physical prison, it's a mental one. And this mental prison obviously has physical side effects. There is a invisible barrier, a certain amount of distance away from my house that I can't cross. I can't get there. I want to make my wife proud. I want to be there for her. I want to go places and do things and live a life and be happy and be good and normal. But I can't. And I know I can't because I tell myself I can't. I know I can't because me and my thoughts. I know this. Face your fear. Get over it. Grow up. I know from past experience facing your fear when it's not your decision makes it worse. I know from personal experience that the only cure is to face your fear voluntarily with confidence. And that's what I got with that meditation. I did go further. I ended up going hours. We went to a cabin, and the idea of me going even more than 5 minutes is not a reality. And it was beautiful. The forest, peaceful and good, and I was so grateful and happy. I ended up getting a job that I have not had one for 5 years. I lasted like a month or so, and it felt good. I always said that I used to be jealous of, people going down the sidewalk, but also going to a store and saying hi, how are you, to random people, or just getting checked out by a cashier. That social interaction I could not have. So working was good. It made me feel good. I got to do something. I was contributing financially. Everything was awesome. And I was beating death. I had faced death, obviously, in my mind, but I was aware of it. I knew I could get out of it, and I beat it. I don't know exactly what brought me back down. I think parts of it were the pressure of having to be somewhere. I had this same experience at my wedding. Luckily, I was on a good path during that time. But the thought of having to stand there, knowing I have to be right there, waiting for at the aisle with 20 or so people looking at me. I had to be strong. I can't leave. I have a panic attack there. I am standing there. And I remember feeling very scared and nervous leading up to the day. Luckily, we had so much to do. We basically made our wedding from scratch. We paper machéed trees and all the decorations, set up the chairs and tables. And there was so much to do that I didn't have time to think. I didn't have time to worry or to maybe stress a little. But to think and panic, there was no time for that. And it was a happy day. And it was a busy day. But no panic. I remember the only time I had to think was going up into the aisle. And as soon as I started walking down the aisle to my spot, it all hit me at once, because there was finally nothing to do and nothing to focus on. The time was now to be here in this spot, and I have to be. And all these people looking at me, my body went numb, but I had to keep going. I had to get to where I needed to be. And I was a little shaky. But the moment my wife walked out the door and I saw her, tears immediately, strength, fully, I felt good and strong and right where I needed to be. And no amount of people staring at me could ever change that. No situation, no thought, nothing was going to take me away from that moment. I felt strong. My wife, my then soon-to-be wife, made me strong, gave me strength. And I read my vows. I was nervous about that part too. I might have messed up one word, but it was still good. It was good. And I felt good, and I felt strong, and it was absolutely the best day of my life. I loved it. I recorded it. I'm happy I did. I get to re-watch the most beautiful thing that's ever happened to me. But again, at work, it was that thought of having to be somewhere, I think, that overwhelmed me the most. I have 2 safe places, my mom's house and mine, both 5 minutes apart. I was starting to feel a little comfortable there. I was very honest with the people I worked with, my bosses, about my anxiety, about the fact that I hadn't worked in so long, that I may need patience with my panic. But ultimately, the needing to go to sleep at this time, the needing to wake up at this time, and the knowing that if I didn't and ended up going with 4 hours of sleep, the knowing that if I feel weird in any part of my body, which is obviously a normal thing to do, but that if I went to work tired, my brain would tell me it's because of, you name it, I'm dying. And that vicious cycle of thought is what led me to stop. So I left. I still tried to go places with, beating my anxiety. And I was for the most part. But I ended up having another panic attack in a car. And now I'm right back where I started. I know the information. I know what the cure is. Face your fear. I think I know that it is the fear of fear. I'm terrified of it. I know that I have to face it to be rid of it. But the idea of facing it at all, even now, even as I speak, my chest drops. So, currently, I'm back with my therapist, the one that graduated me, because we thought I, beat it. Which is good. She helped me before. Maybe she can do it again. Obviously, she, as being me, therapist, leads you to a path where you're supposed to do it on your own. Again, that fear, facing it. It's a mountain. It's a giant. I think I've been avoiding even thinking about it. Knowing that no matter what, I have to walk up to that giant and maybe even walk through it. But I have to face it. I've been trying to build things, make things, anything to not think about myself, anything to not have anxiety. My 3 triggers are being alone. So when my wife goes to work, I would go over to my mom's and do whatever needed to be done there, as long as I wasn't alone. And having something to do, keeping my mind distracted off of facing fears. Being in a car, my second trigger. Even the 5 minutes to my mom's house is terrifying. Just the idea of maybe the car stopping or a red light. Every red light is, fuck, I have to be here just a little bit longer. I don't even try to face it anymore. Sometimes I used to, sit up straight and in the front seat and fully be aware and present that I am in a car right now. But I can't. I can't face it. I immediately lay in the back seat, put my headphones on, and tune out. I pretend that I'm not there. And the third trigger of mine is being far enough away from those two places. And I have to have both things at the same time for me to feel safe. Be with someone and be at one of those two safe places. And there's almost nothing that can convince me to not be in one of those two situations. I give up things. Maybe there's something going on, fun, that I would like to do. I'm not going. Nowadays, at least currently, I'm trying not to put as much pressure on my mom or just not have to be a burden. So when my wife goes to work, I go to sleep. And I try to sleep until she comes back. Because I don't want to panic. I know that, again, the only way to beat the anxiety is to face your fear. I think, more recently, with this group that I was invited to, I get to help or talk to other people. And I think I have been using it as a distraction. If I'm not talking to the people that are already in it, then I'm looking for people to be a part of it. I do think it's helpful to have someone there to encourage you, to be supportive, that understands. I think I am using it in an unhealthy way. Not that it's not a positive thing, but that I am using it as a distraction and never, in a way that I'm trying to improve myself. Again, if I'm not talking to the people that are already in it, I'm looking for others, whether they be on Omegle. I'll type in matching subjects, mental health, anxiety, panic attacks. Or on Twitter, I'll search for the last tweet or last recent tweet that I just want to kill myself. I have no one to talk to. And I'll try to talk to that person. Try to find the lost souls and make them not lost. I know how it is. I like helping people. I don't like when people hurt, and helping people helps me. It doesn't help me fully. It makes me feel good because, being a financial burden, having nothing to do and nothing positive to feel about yourself, making someone else feel positive, well, at least that's some good. I don't know what it's going to take for me to break. I think time. It did the first time. There's only so many days you can take doing the same thing over and over again before you lose your mind. I I think I'm close. There's been a lot of interesting things happen recently. With I didn't say this earlier, but Easter came around and I designed this giant board game that sort of like Mario Party, if you ever played like that, and very intricate, and 10 mini games within it. Again, I always try to find something big, something hard, something I can work on for a really long time to focus on, so I don't have to focus on myself. But I'm running out of stuff, so I think it's only a matter of time before I really sit down with me, and that is something I am terrified of doing, but know that ultimately that's the only right thing or positive thing to do, the right direction. I do see good. I see where I want to be. I know where I want to be. I don't know if I'll get there, but I know where I want to be. And I think a lot of people in this situation, not being able to do things, living a life, it's a depressing situation. And I can see that there are a lot of people that just want to be rid of it. Done. I like life. Again, the source of all my 3 triggers, it's all death. I don't want to die. This is something that I will inevitably do. Even if I beat my anxiety, even if I die when I'm 90, I've seen death before. I've seen the slow, painful, not eating, not drinking, constantly asleep, and if not in sleep, in excruciating pain, waking up screaming. Every day, I've seen and felt the cold, dead hands. I know what death is. I don't know what happens after death. Obviously, everyone has their ideas on that. I'm really not sure. I do think we're special, though I don't know if there's any magical component to the universe. I try to believe that there at least should be. I don't want to go too off topic, but I think that the world is good, and people may think that people are bad and things are bad. But I try not to think about people so much. I like to think of the forests and the trees and the birds and how peaceful it is there, how perfect it is, how life is perfect, how the food that grows from the ground is good for us. And people might have their thoughts, but also if you've ever seen a bear eating a elk or deer alive screaming, that's not very peaceful. But the bear isn't evil. He's just trying to live, and I think a lot of people are distracted. We all live in this society of entertainment and distraction and social media, and people aren't perfect. They're easily distracted, and it's not their fault. They have things to do, jobs and school and whatever. Not everyone sits in their room and thinks 24/7. That's actually not good for you, as it turns out. But I don't think people are necessarily bad, just as I don't think that the bear eating the elk alive is bad. I think we do what we feel we need to live, to be happy. Some people are obviously greedy, but ultimately I see humans and life as a good thing. even to the people who think we're setting the world on fire with how greedy we are and pollution and all that, I do think that the quickest we can advance as a species with technology is potentially for the better. I'm not a smart person. I didn't graduate from high school, but, there was an ice age at some point. Maybe potentially we're preventing one of those, but also if a meteor were ever to crash that would destroy all life itself, that I think that we would be the only thing possible to stop that from happening. So ultimately, I think that we're the protectors of life and that we are the universe's conscious. And if there is no magical man somewhere out there, then, well, this earth, us, I do believe we're pretty magical ourselves, especially in our ability to feel, If you've ever seen a tragic thing or prevented a tragic thing, being, a hero, saving people, or want to be good. And of course this could be rooted in selfishness. I've had that argument before to where, it's impossible not to be selfish no matter what you do in any situation. Even if it's not what you want to do, you want a particular outcome. You're dealing with someone unpleasant, they want you to do something, you don't want to do it, but you don't want to fight with them, blah, blah, blah. It's always your thoughts that win in the end, even if, it's not necessarily what you want to do. It's the outcome you want. You don't want to get beat up by the person imprisoning you, literally in a situation. But the argument I had against that was that if the outcome is good, then it's good. Let's say that, you do something for yourself, right? Like, I like to help people. I like to help people because it makes me feel good. I've already gone over this. Worthless, pathetic, purposeless. I never feel too good about myself, but when I help other people, it makes me feel good. Now, there's something inside of me that does this. I don't know what, but it gives me a positive, warm, fuzzy feeling when I've actually helped someone, and or just to make people happy in general. I feel good, and potentially the reason I subconsciously started the event that led to someone else feeling good from me is that I wanted to feel good in the first place, and that could be selfish, but ultimately I think that if your outcome is good, then it's good, and it doesn't matter if it's selfish. Point of any of that, there are some people that don't want to live. And I do. I do want to live. No matter how bad it gets. No matter how many times my cat walks in front of my camera. I want to live. I don't think that will ever change. I think that life can suck and be painful, and I've probably never even felt half of the amount of shit I'm going to feel. But I want to push through. I want to be there for the people that I love. I've thought about that too with the death. That, God, wouldn't it be easier if I didn't have to watch every single person I love die? Wouldn't that be nice? To not have to go through excruciating pain over and over again, because I don't have that too many people that that are in my life. But the ones that I do, the amount I feel for them, it's a lot. And to lose each one of those people, world crushing. I think being stuck at my house because of my mental prison is bad. I know that it's going to get worse. I know that the amount of misery and fear that I have already felt that currently paralyzes me is nothing compared to what I am going to feel in the future. And yet, I still want to live. I would rather I experience that myself than have them go through that about me or without me. So I want to live. I think that the idea that we are alive at all, the chances of us existing are so against us. Even if you were to say there was a God and here we are. You know, every sperm, right? There's millions. The chances that your sperm, at the right moment, at the right time, at the right person, the chances of you existing at all in every way possible are so unlikely you might as well call it magic. And that goes to whatever your religion is. Life itself is a miracle. I don't care how miserable it is. I don't care what happens to you. The chance to see, to feel good even once. That's more than all the non-people that have not existed, that were the wrong sperm or they got thrown away in a napkin. We're lucky. Even pain, even feeling misery. I do think there can't be any evil without, or good without evil. I also have a similar thought with pain, that you have to go through bad things to get to good, or to at least to appreciate the good. And also, if you only ever experience good, when you do experience the bad, it's just, well, that much worse. Pain is good for you. It makes you stronger. Obviously, coming from me, who can't take pain or fear or whatever, is hiding from all that. That probably sounds... But, even if I'm not in a position to talk, I might be telling the truth. You never know. Well, again, currently I am in the process of creating a group. I'm searching for people who need help. This group chat that I'm in, I think there's like 60 people in it. They all help each other. It's been really nice. It's been really good. And the group I've created, as aside from that, is meant to be more so, for anyone who wants to say anything at all, really. But, for people to share their stories, if there's helpful tips or tricks that they know of regarding to depression or anxiety, that they have a place to share them and people can see them. And ultimately, it's all just to help people. And I don't know when I will choose to sit down with my thoughts and just take it, make a plan, face my fear, be rid of it. But I'll keep you posted. I've been pretty active in this group. Obviously not the group page. I don't think I've posted too much. I'm talking about this group chat. Since this episode is a little short, there is an interesting little story that happened within this group chat that I could talk about. So again, I got invited into this anxiety group chat maybe 3 weeks ago or so, and I did ended up finding 2 people to do a podcast with, to share their stories. But there were 2 people in there. I won't say their names just because, I think potentially they're friends with some of the other people. But there were 2 people in there that were inappropriate. One of the guys were asking girls, because it's like a chat with like 90% girls, but one of the guys in there was asking for people's panty colors and just being a little too flirty. And the other guy in there was asking girls to go to his adult chat. And I had friends, or I had become friends with a few people that were in that adult chat. So I went in and checked it out, and it was just some 40-year-old dude just sending dick pics, and the other guy I mentioned being inappropriate was just begging this other girl to send nudes. I mean, honestly, it got so bad to where I lost my desire for any kind of thought like that at all. I even told my wife, I can't do anything. I don't know, these thoughts are so disgusting, and I hate that. I hate unwanted sexual advances. I hate pervertedness. I don't know. I can't stand it. I ended up leaving that stupid adult chat thing and talking to the admin of the group chat that I'm in about it, that they were trying to recruit for their adult chat, and that the other guy not necessarily being the owner of the adult chat, but just flirting, asking for panties, just that they were inappropriate, and I thought they were there for the wrong reasons. She thanked me, and she kicked them, and it was an awesome feeling. I don't know, because they were in there constantly, and it was really annoying. But she kicked them, and I let her know how important and helpful and awesome I think this chat that she created where everyone's kind of helping each other. And she thanked me by giving me the honor to become an admin. So now if that shit ever happens again, and I've, again, like I said, I've been finding people on other groups and Omegle and Twitter, searching for just lost souls, and I've got quite a few new people in there, and it's just really nice to see having this one-on-ones, hearing their stories, hearing that they might not have any support, and then just hearing how helpful and grateful and appreciative and just happy to have people that can understand and support each other. And it's just been really nice to talk to these people, be there for these people, and to put them where I consider to be a safe space, where they get to feel supported and loved and good, and it's just been really nice to see. But my brain is sort of telling me I'm running out of thoughts regarding anxiety. But if you're watching this, I'm assuming you're either a part of the group or you know me. If there's a story, your story, that you think might benefit other people, if you experience anxiety or depression or are suicidal or any negative thought, I have nothing to do. You can talk to me forever. You could spam my damn phone. You can't upset me. You absolutely have a person in me, even if I don't know who you are. I try to never leave anyone on red. If you need help, I will talk to you. And I'm not saying that I'm the master of all cures, but I will at least hear you. I will be there. And if you need the support, if I can help bring you that or put you in a place where you can get that, come talk to me. Also, if you just, want to come on here and share your story and try to have other people relate to you and vice versa. And I'm just trying to help people. And if you are suffering / want to help people as well, then come talk to me. I would love to talk to you. And with that, that's all she wrote, folks. I didn't quite get an hour, but close enough. One of the shorter ones. It's just me, so. Alright. I'll see you guys later.